Good morning and welcome back to Bowl TV for the 2017 USBC Senior Masters. We are entering the double elimination match play bracket here at Samstown in Las Vegas, Nevada. Talk about a great matchup to get things underway. A pair of Hall of Famers, combined 60 tour titles. Parker Bone, the third, our top overall seed, taking on Brian Voss on 19 and 20. Over on 21 and 22, Mr. 300 himself, Bob Learn Jr., taking on Bruce Hall. My name is Aaron Smith with USBC Communications, sitting alongside Matt Cannizzaro. We're ready for another exciting day here on Bowl TV. Thank you for joining us. This is the first of two sets of opening round matches. 56 lane facility. With how we got everyone spread out. Gonna do the left side of the 64 player bracket first. Coming up in about 2.5 hours from now, we will have the right side of the winner's bracket. Back on the 41-foot condition used all week through qualifying, 15 games over 3 days to whittle the field down from 277 players to the top 63 and defending champion Pete Weber. And now here's the scenario of 3 game matches with total pinfall, determining who advances to the next round and who's going to have a little bit longer trek to make it to Sunday's step ladder finals. That would have to come through the elimination bracket. You can visit bowl.com/Senior Masters to find more information about the 2017 event. Also, if you scroll below the video in the description area, we got links to live scoring as well as the bracket, so you can check that out there. I see a few folks in the chat already mentioning the place to go to. You get there either way. First non-strike on 19 and 20 as Parker comes in a little bit light on the head pin, leaves the 3. Quiet day for PB3 yesterday. 13:08, including a perfect game. Had a total of 5 over the course of qualifying to get to plus a 717, 247.8 average, eclipsing the mark he set last year right here at Samstown when he went to 37:12. So Parker definitely comfortable here at Samstown. Hoping to improve on his finish last year, tied for 13th. But as so many folks have said, really a brand new tournament starts this morning. Pinfall drops. these head-to-head matches. Took a 211 average to make the field. It's actually a tie for 63rd and 64th place. Brian Voss and Robert Worrell finishing at plus 165. Voss was given the 64 seed based off of having, or I guess I should say, Worrell earned the 63 spot by having the higher 5-game block out of the two. That is the determining factor for seeds for ties in the top 64. Trouble for Parker in the 5th. The 2-4, 6-7, 10. Whoa there. Throughout the course of the Super Senior Classic, we saw quite a few. Nice cover there, Parker. Quite a few 7-10s over the course of the event on 21 and 22. Bob Learn. His first non-strike. 7-10, but still holds an early 23-pin advantage over Bruce Hall. Bruce had a 299 in day one. Pretty consistent sets overall to get to plus 167. Learn gets him to mix up after the 7-10. See if Bruce Hall can get going here. Solid player out of the Northeast. Also does a lot of work for Neva up there. Better known as the New England Bowlers Association, does actually a little bit of live streaming for them. So we actually had Bruce on Bowl TV back at the Team USA trials in January. His son Andrew competing. Got some really good matches going on across the house here. Of course, there's definitely no gimmies here once you make it to the top 64. As I mentioned, took a 211 average, so all these players have found a way to consistently get to the pocket, found a way to strike. Of course, in such a talented field. Great match on 49.50, Ryan Schaefer and Ron Moore. Ron winning the Super Senior Classic here at Sam's Town last week. Ryan Schaefer, a rookie on the PBA 50 Tour.
All right, Mr. Smith, how would you like to have a record-breaking performance and have your reward be a first-round matchup with a fellow Hall of Famer, Brian Voss?
Well, that's, as mentioned, no gimmies here at the, once you get to bracket play. No, Hall of Famer Norm Duke had a big final block to work his way into the match play field, but yeah, that's certainly allows itself to bring along some marquee matchups and combined 60 tour titles between these two gentlemen right here in 19 and 20. So that's that is pretty crazy.
Well, talking to the players all week, and I mean, it's a pretty accurate description that the Senior Masters is really just two events in one. First goal is to get there, get to the match play. It doesn't matter if you're number 1 or number 64, as you can see. Once you get to that point, you whittle the field down. Chances are you're going to have pretty familiar names and faces and some of the best players in the world among that 64. So, and then at this point, it's just you and your opponent on this pair of lanes. So it doesn't matter what happened yesterday or what's going on around you. We've got a pretty high-scoring match here between Parker Boone III and Brian Voss, whereas on our other pair, not quite as high-scoring. But again, one has nothing to do with the other, and you know, it's just what the lanes give you at that point and what your opponent can give you. And Parker Boone was giving Brian Voss a handful until that 7-10. The 7 and the 10 wiggling in the 10th.
We've seen those pop up over the course of the past week plus, and tough break for Bruce there, finally getting off the 2-4-7 combo and leaves the 8-pin, but a little bit slower match, as you mentioned, on 21-22, and yeah, the whole idea of 2 tournaments and kind of, even though we're in a 56-lane center, all that really is important for these players is what's on the pair in front of them.
Well, and for Parker, the 7-10 to the 10th certainly slowed his roll here in game number 1. Now Voss with a chance to strike out for an advantage. Parker finishes with 230. The good news is that it's a 3-game match, so still plenty of time left. And this one's going to be pretty close going into game 2. But what could have been a 264 game just turned into 230 just like that. So Brian Voss now with the momentum in this match, getting ready to step up in the 10th. He can get to 259 and have a 29-pin advantage. And Voss seems to be his MO. Quietly does his thing, sneaks into the bracket, and then does some work. So we'll see how that turns out. And now Bob Learn doubling up after the open on the right lane. Actually, back-to-back opens on that right lane, strikes in the 8th. So he's going to finish there in the 10th. He can get to 232 right now. And Bruce Hall plugging along, but just one strike on the board, so he's going to be at a disadvantage here as Voss capitalizes on the Parker Bone open frame.
Going to be in the 240s, can push it up to 259 with 2 more. Learn's been near the top of the standings all weekend from throwing shots like that, but not always necessarily having that result. 9th in.
He seems to be
double.
Bounced back pretty well from some wrist troubles. At least it looks like it. Throwing the ball pretty well and pretty aggressive there at the bottom of the swing. So good to see him healed up pretty well from. I know you ran into him a little while back and it wasn't looking so good.
Yeah, the wrist gave, actually right here in this facility back in 2015 at the World Bowling Senior Championships. The wrist had essentially popped in the middle of a team event, and there's only 4 players on the team for that event, no subs. So heading into the championship match, the only way Bob could really bowl without any pain was to give him the high hard one. So it was Bob Learn throwing the heat, making spares, just keeping the ball in play, and shot about I want to say 190 in the title match. You know, certainly didn't hurt the team, and relied on his teammates as well to get the job done as they took home the gold medal. That team included Lenny Borsch Jr., John Petraglia, and Ron Moore.
All right, game number 2 underway on 19 and 20, Bone and Voss. And Voss with the advantage, 258, 230 after Parker's 7-10 in the 10th, but Parker back on it quickly here in game 2, strikes in the first frame. Final frame coming up on 21 and 2. Again, Learn with the advantage. Bruce Hall, though, with the chance to close the gap here. He's going into the 10th frame on a strike. He can get to 199.
A lot of strikes here in the early going. Opening round, left side of the bracket. Double elimination match play format here at the 2017 USBC Senior Masters. This is a game number 2. We got running totals for the players up there. If you don't, or if you keep striking, however, it'll all add up at the end. In our featured matches, Brian Voss grabbed an early 28-pin lead over top overall seed Parker Bone III, 258 to 230. Parker leaving a pocket 710 in the 10th frame. Voss got one of his own in the 3rd frame. Parker has put the foot on the gas, front 6 here. 211 to 199. Bob Learn Jr. with the advantage over Bruce Hall on 21 and 22. Make it 7. Parker averaged more than 247 over the course of his 15 qualifying games here this week, including a 299 and a 300. You can see videos of both of those on social media, whether you're visiting Facebook or Twitter. On Facebook, the Sport of Bowling USBC. On Twitter, at USBC. We'll do our best to run around the facility. We got the live scoring up. We hope you do as well, following your favorite players. See if they can make a run as well. We'll add any cool videos that we happen to catch on both of those pages. So we got Christer Peterson from Sweden up to 7 in a row over on 31 and 32. BV, like that one. Getting them to mix up, showing the emotion. You could definitely say this is not your typical 1 versus a 64 match. Not often throughout the course of any event do you get to 2 players with credentials quite like this, and to get them facing off here in the opening round, just wow. Both of them know about the long trek that one of them would have to take. Through the elimination bracket. Neither are ready to do that, though. Five in a row after the 710 for Voss. Neither player letting up here. This is a pretty cool way to start your Friday. We'll be here on Bowl TV throughout the rest of the 2017 event, all the way to the stepladder finals on Sunday. Parker makes it 8 for 8. Krister Peterson up right now, looking to make it 9 in a row, over on 31 and 32. Looks like we'll have to run over there real quick for that. Be right back here on Bowl TV. All right. Some running completed. Krister Peterson connects for 300, the 6th of the 2017 event. We'll get that video up in just a few moments on the Sport Bowling USBC, as well as at USBC on Twitter. Parker Bones' string of strikes ended at 8. Let's look at the 279. This game has made up the difference, as Voss unable to get the 10 out in the 9th. Oh. Nine pin on the second shot will drop. Voss down to 227. Going to be at 485 after two, but more than likely going to be down in the match. We expected big things from players of this caliber, obviously. The fact that they're meeting up here in the opening round, just not something you see every day, but it's part of the draw. And once again, all you gotta do is make it to the show. You can dance however you like. Messenger violently makes its way across the deck. Going to be in the 270s now for our tournament leader. .279 in game two for Parker Bone III. Holds a 509 to 485 advantage. 24 pins separating him and Voss heading into the finale. Miscue in the ninth frame for Bruce Hall. It's going to give Bob Learn a chance to put a little bit more space between him and Hall heading into game number three. Epic first two games here between Parker Bone III and Brian Voss. Certainly expected. The caliber of these two gentlemen have not disappointed. For Voss, as we mentioned, he ended up tying for 63rd. So him and Robert Worrell got that spot. It's going to be a tough test for either one of them, because Worrell got the 63 spot based off the higher 5-game block. He gets a face-off against defending champion Pete Weber. So we were going to be in for a great match either way. Voss loving it, showing the emotion.
Voss definitely a showman, but in this sense, he needs it. Not really any room here. Parker Bone bouncing back from the 7-10 in the first game and leaving little room for Voss now in the finale. Parker definitely not going to let up. Our other match, Bob Learn leads 443 to 390, so sizable advantage here with the game to go and final game underway. Bob Learn putting the pressure on right away. And if you're a bowling fan, certainly seeing Voss and Bone duking it out. Pretty cool.
Duke Bowls next round, guy.
There you go. So just it's like a who's who here at the Senior Masters, and the crowd reflects that as a lot of folks on hand today now that match play is underway. Cut the field down from 277 to 64. Many very familiar faces. Some newcomers. Major Mika doing his thing down to our left. I'm sure he'll get some attention this week.
All right, got a little bit with a perfect game during qualifying. Speaking of 300s, talked about Krister Peterson connecting for all 12. His the Sport of Bowling USBC Facebook page in just a moment here. Five for five, Brian Voss. Not afraid to do the work here. .485, you would expect to be leading most matches. Finds himself down at 24 pins, though. Has made some of that up. Is Parker unable to strike in the second, and big time trouble in the fifth. 6, 7, 10. 7 for 7, Brian Voss. Max score for Parker Bone III at 2:45. After the 6-7-10. Got two the hard way there, taking out the 7-10. He's going to lose another 20 on his max total there, so going to need some help from Voss. The top seed is going to want to stay in the winner's bracket.
All right, Aaron Smith going to be on the move here real quick. Looks like Japan's Junichi Yajima with the front 8. Down on the far end, and Brian Leclerc also striking off to our right, so take the best of the best, and all of a sudden, scores on the rise here at the Senior Masters, so we'll keep you updated on that. Brian Voss still doing things here. 8 for 8, so a lot happening here. Looking every which way right now. So 3 bowlers with the front 8. Getting down to the final numbers here. Yajima got the front 9 down to 45 and 6. Brian Voss, front 9, gets that 9 to go late with some emotion. Voss down 24 coming into this game. Now has the front 9 on the verge of eliminating or knocking Parker Bone to the elimination bracket. The #1 seed in a record-setting fashion. Nothing Parker can do here. He bowled 279 in game 2. 710 cost him in game 1. And now Voss in control. Live here on Bull TV. So Parker can get to 714. Brian Voss already well past that number. Parker's going to have a long road ahead of him in the elimination bracket. quietly on 21 and 22. Bob Learn getting the job done here against Bruce Hall. Shinichi Ajima, 45 and 6 with the front 9. Chuck Vashaw finishes with 257 and 695, so great match over there. Brian Voss, front 9. Make that 10. Parker Bone finishes with 703, 194 finish, but not much he could do here. Voss is the boss, front 10. Taking advantage in game 1 with 3 in the 10th, or double 9 in the 10th for 258. Oh, Brian Voss, still 9, but he's got more than enough. Brian Voss wins it 774 to 703. Over Parker Bone, number 64 in the bracket, takes down number 1. Down on the far side, Ujima with the front 11. He shoots 300 game 3. He shoots 774. And the live scoring already moved on. So we'll get that final score from Aaron Smith when he gets over here. And again, on our featured pair, Brian Voss, 774. Parker Bone III, 703. Number 64 takes down number 1. Parker Bone going to the elimination bracket. Brian Voss moves on. And we'll see who he faces next. We'll take a look at the bracket. All this is available on bowl.com. Voss will take on the winner of Koivu Niemi and Stakeoff off to our left, and not able to see those final scores from here. Already gone from the live scoring, so we'll have that bracket updated here very quickly as we get ready now for a re-oil. And we'll have the right side of the bracket coming up soon. Looks like the next round will be at 11:30 our time. And 2:30 on the East Coast. Bruce Hall finishes here with 6:06. 2:16 game. Bob Learn going to advance here in the winner's bracket. All right, big finish for Bob Learn. So a little bit in the shadow of that Bone Voss match. But that had all the makings from the minute it went on paper. 1 versus 64, Hall of Fame showdown, and a near perfect effort by Brian Voss. Finishing with 289 to take down the #1 seed here and give Parker a long, long road. Learn finishes with 721. Bruce Hall 6:06. So Bruce will head to the elimination bracket as well. And those matches start this afternoon at 4 p.m. local time, 7 p.m. on the East Coast. And now, almost in anticlimactic fashion, we're done here for almost 90 minutes. Next matches start at 11:30. They have to re-oil for the right side of the winner's bracket. And we'll get the bracket updated here as quickly as we can and just get resituated here. So we appreciate everybody tuning in. Final matches are getting done farther than we can see. So definitely an interesting format situation here. Now with the break and the right side coming back, left side bowling separate, but that's what happens in a 56 lane center. This week we use lanes 5 to 52. So not possible to get everybody on the lanes at once, so split them up. And we'll take a look and see who we have coming our way in our next round. Looks like 21 and 22 will feature Emleto Monticelli and John Chauvenek, #3 versus #62. And on 19 and 20, it'll be our defending champion, Pete Weber, #2 overall, taking on Robert Worrall, the #63 seed. So, again, we'll have 2 great matches, a couple Hall of Famers. So, it's just a little bit of a wait, but other than that, it's going to be exciting. So, go grab a snack, grab some coffee, do what you got to do, but make sure you're here. Join us in 90 minutes, 11:30 local time, 2:30 on the East Coast. For the next round, right side of the winner's bracket from the 2017 USBC Senior Masters. This is Matt Canizaro and Aaron Smith, and we'll be back for that. Thanks for tuning in.